Off with the prayer. Freddie Yoder usually does the prayer, but he was out of town this week. So can we all sit down and start with a prayer? Let's just start off with a prayer of thanks that we live in this wonderful community. Thank you all for being here. Also want to keep in our prayers Rita Legrand. She had a hip replacement surgery, and she did well and then developed an infection in the wound. So she is getting a temporary, I think another replacement. So let's try to keep her in our prayers. And just God, please help us to always do right by you with our families and our community. Amen. Glenn is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Glenn. Okay, I need a motion to accept the minutes of the September 20th meeting. Joe, seconded by Ralph. All in favor? Okay. Two brief announcements, and then we're going to get to the nominations for the board. And Todd is going to talk about this in a few minutes, but just in case anyone leaves. Friends of Lakeview Gala, which is a premier event in this area. Hundreds of people come. You see your neighbors, you see the movers and shakers in the community there. It's a fabulous event, November 22nd, right over here at Al Petrie's house. So Todd is going to give us more information on that. Holidays on Harrison is December 4th. That's another event that's awesome. It's a wonderful tradition in our area. And that's going to be at Lakeview Grocery December 4th. Ty Savant is going to be talking about that in a minute. Okay, let's go ahead and do the nominations. Every year in November, we let you know what our nominations are for certain positions on the board, and we also let you know if there are any new members that we as a board have put on the slate. We also need to open the nominations, because if you have any in mind, you give them to us as well. So I'd like a motion to open the nominations. Michelle moved. Laura seconded. All in favor? Aye. Okay, let me tell you what our slate is. This is mine.
Yes.
This is. This. Hello. Okay. The new president is sabotaging me back there. Okay, this is my last meeting, so the present slate for next year in January, Brian Anderson, president, he's in the back. He's right there. Okay. Freddie Yoder, vice president. Tim Lott, treasurer. Michelle Douglas, secretary. Joe Giarrusso, president-elect. Anne LeBlanc, ex officio. Ralph Schindler, right here. Val Cupid, Pepe Bruno, Glenn Stout, Tom Schnatz, Mark Udo, Rory Bellina are all willing to re-serve again on the board. We have two openings on the board, and I'd like to introduce the two people we have nominated to be on the board. Ty Savant, can you stand up? Ty does all our community activities. She's been doing it for several years. She's got more energy than most of us. She's awesome, she's very creative, and we all love her. So she is a nominee for the board. And Trey Babin, there he is right there. Trey was our chair of our Nord Sea Committee. He really pushed, applied pressure on the city with the Garnet Brown development. He kept us all informed on the progress of that, and he was willing to step up and be part of the CAT team of Nord Sea. So that's an ongoing thing that we're going to need help with. So Trey is a Lakeview resident, father of two wonderful kids, and a lawyer, and he wants to be on the board, and we want him to be on the board. So that is the slate. Are there any nominations from the floor? Okay. Can I entertain a motion to close the nominations?
So moved.
Thank you, Brett. Anyone second? Close the nominations.
Second.
Michelle, all in favor? Okay. They're closed now, and that is our slate of nominees who will be installed in January. And hopefully Senator Murray will do an early invite. You can swear us all in January. Thank you. Okay, I'd like at this time to ask our attending public officials, starting with Senator Murray, to give us a few comments.
Good morning, and I'm going to follow the lead and be real brief as well. First of all, I guess when the election's over, and congratulations to you all for renewing the Crime Prevention District. It was one of the first in the state to be around, and people really do model it. We have several in the state now, and it's looked at as a real model. I met with some folks and we're in Academy Park earlier this week, and they looked at the statue. They try to mirror it to this one out there as well. You all probably heard on the news, I guess, in the last day or so, since yesterday, that the state's revenue forecast is down, so we have to cut about $170 million from this year's budget. Those cuts typically only can come in two areas, higher education and healthcare. So you'll see some things happening. There's a big problem already dealing with these public-private partnerships with the hospitals, the charity hospital, and children's and other ones around the state, so there'll be further cuts in the public healthcare, which is not a good thing. I think that they are pretty much on board now to ready to do the bids, to do the new golf courses in City Park. So you should see some things happening there real soon. That's going to be real good for this area. They're going to build a professional course and a really nice municipal course. That should add a lot to this area. And finally, I will tell you, if you've driven out there, the Flood Protection Authority has done a really good job of restoring Lakeshore Drive. If you've not been out there, you should take a look at it. The fountain is going again. It's really nice. So things are coming along. We've got to fill a budget gap for the non-flood asset authority, though, because they've got to get through next year before they really get back into the millage. But things are really making improvement along the lakefront as well. And we'll hang around for a little bit, but I've got to attend the funeral, so if I leave out, I apologize for that. But you all can reach me by email or by telephone. Thank you very much.
Next up, we have Council Member Susan Guidry.
Good morning, everybody, and I'd like to thank Ann for all her service as president of LCIA. She's done a wonderful job. We were laughing about the first time she came to my office when she was the president-elect, and she suggested that we should meet once a month. And she said, I remember the look on your face. Because if I met with all the neighborhood leaders once a month, that's pretty much what I would do during the course of the day. Anyway, so she's been wonderful, though, and I'm going to be quick because I got a lot. Notice Me. Notice Me is a new tool, online tool for anyone who wants to learn about land use matters. And so if you visit noticeme.nola.gov, you can sign up. You pick out a geographical area that you want to get notices about land use matters and sign up for it. So you know, never have to worry about things happening around your house or your business again without getting notice of it. Harris Grants, I was very pleased to be able to steer some Harris Grant money to wonderful organizations that in and around District A, including locally here, Hike for Katrina, Lakeview Shepherd Center, and Community Visions Unlimited. Community Visions Unlimited does the utility boxes. They hire more artists to paint the utility boxes, and that and Lakeview Shepherd Center are both run by a wonderful Lakeview woman, Jeannie Tidy. LED conversions of the street lights in the Lakeview area are nearly complete. We're in the Navarre and West End neighborhoods right now, and then we'll have our LED conversions complete. Those are energy efficient light bulbs, 7 to 10 year lifespan compared to 2 to 3 years for conventional lights, and they use 30 to 50% less energy. They provide better lighting. But the LED conversions are just light bulb conversions. So if you have a street light or see a street light that goes out, still report it to 311, because if it's any other problem besides changing a bulb, then it's got to be reported for us to know about it and come and work on it. Let's see. The FEMA Funded Recovery Roads Program is now going to include fixing drainage underneath, and for that reason they've had to go out and remap, and unfortunately that's pushed the recovery roads repairs back. in time. Lakeview is scheduled for December of 2015 now for the project to start, and it's expected to take 2 years. That's on your smaller streets around Lakeview. Smoke detectors, let me go to that one. Smoke detectors, the fire department will install smoke detectors for free. And if need be, they'll help change batteries. If you've got an elderly neighbor or somebody who can't change their batteries, they will come and change the batteries. So please, if you don't have a smoke detector, get in touch with the fire department. And that's 658-4714, 658-4714, or visit nola.gov/NOFD. You probably noticed we're in budget hearings, and we have been in budget hearings to City Council over the last month. Those ended just the other day, and on next Thursday, we will be passing the budget. So if you had any budget desires or needs, it's probably too late, but do let me know, and I'll see if I can fit them in there. One thing that I was very excited to be able to negotiate this year, and the mayor did put it in the proposed budget, and so far the council has not, nobody said they're going to take it out, is an alley grader, a new alley grader for the city. And you know, that's been really interesting because it's only Lakeview that needs an alley grader, right? It isn't used anywhere else, but our one alley grader is broken more than it's fixed. And so I've just been talking to the council about it all year long, talking about how bad the streets are out here, and they know it, and they are supporting it. An alley grader and a specialized truck that we need for it, and a new crew for DPW. So we're real excited about that, along with, of course, money for more street light maintenance and for more street repairs. Old hands. Okay. Lafitte Greenway. I know you all have seen that. It's underway, and we do have money in the budget this year, coming year, for maintenance and operation of the Greenway. So that's very exciting. Let's see, the IG came out with just an awful scathing report regarding the sex crimes unit for the police department. And I know we're all very shocked about it. I've been on the phone with the police department, Public Integrity Bureau, and the IG. I'm making sure that they are moving very quickly on identifying those potential victims and following those cases, as well as tracking down anybody in the department who is responsible for the total mishandling of these crimes. And on December 10th, I will be holding a public meeting with the Chief and Public Integrity Bureau Chief and the IG, and I'm inviting the Federal Monitor as Chair of the Criminal Justice Committee for the City Council. We'll have a Criminal Justice Committee meeting where all of this will be talked about in public, so you all can hear it. You can follow it live on Cox, the government channel, or streamed on the City Council's website, nolacitycouncil.com. And we promise that the investigation will not stop until we've turned over every leaf and made sure that these potential victims have been identified and sought out and assisted. And on that happy note, I will end unless anyone has a question. Thank you all very much. And as always, Rico Sterling, my Constituent Services Director, is here and is going to stay throughout the meeting. I have a couple of other events I'm going to try to hit. Even the events here, you know, the hike for Katrina is out at St. Paul's, and the First Lady of the city is out at City Park with a book fair. Yes, ma'am.
When we put up our signs, fix our streets, the mayor's office came on TV and they said they would start fixing it at the end of 2014. And now you say they're going to do it at the end of 2015. But they've been telling us that for the last umpteen years.
Well,
It's every year, it's, we'll do it next year.
There's-
We'll do it next year. We'll
that's
do it
very
next
true
year.
about that third phase of Fleur de Lis. I mean, they have a date on here that they've given me. I didn't even say it because I get so embarrassed about it. But that is not true about it. This is FEMA funded, so it's already obligated money. It's just a matter of that. Until now, until just recently, FEMA would not agree to look at any of the drainage pipes under the street. They say, okay, that, you know, that area of the street that's damaged, we're going to say that came from Katrina-related debris removal. And they would not say, that they would not look at the pipes underneath. We have finally convinced them to do that, and now that has to be mapped out. And so it's a real drag that it's delayed, but it's going to be much better for us, and we're going to get a lot more money. Huh?
Do you think it's gonna
Oh,
happen?
I totally trust that this will happen. Fleur de Lis, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. They say it's going to start soon, but I don't know.
We live on West End Boulevard.
Yes,
There
ma'am.
are trucks going to the core of the new site with mud. They go down West End all day and all night, filled with mud, too fast. And it keeps us up.
So it's too fast.
It's too fast.
Is there any other problems with it? Because we talked before about what they're doing.
Car alarms.
Wow,
Yes.
that's bad. All right, we'll talk with them then about that
Every
specifically.
20
We do
minutes,
talk with
these
them
trucks are
about the way they're doing their work, so please do give us any of those kind of complaints. Anything else? Oh, yes, hey, Claire.
I reported a light bulb, street light out at least 6 months ago. It has never been changed, never been replaced. And I'm wondering if calling again and again and again will help to get it done, or will that just put me at the bottom of the list?
Well, it's a couple of possibilities. You're calling 311 or you're
I
calling?
think so.
Okay, so definitely call 311, they'll give you a case number, but it may be more than just the light out. If it's just the light out, it should have been replaced by now, and it should have been replaced with an LED. So would you give us the address where that is again? And we'll push it, okay? But if it's more than a light out, then they had run out of budget for the maintenance and repair of street light fixtures. But we're putting more money in the budget for 2015. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. I just want to address your question. I'm going to be reporting in a minute about some information from DPW on the first contract that's been let out for the FEMA repairs, and I'm going to tell you the quadrants and everything, so that's good. Something is starting soon, because the process is actually
You've been
happening.
telling us that
I
for
know.
years.
Believe me, I'm going to tell you, I agree with you.
They say 2013, they're gonna start, and then 2000.
Exactly, I know.
It's
In fact, when I started this job, we had, I think Todd, we had this list of streets that were supposed to be done in 2013, so I know exactly what you're talking about, but I will give you some
I mean, it's
information.
all of Lakeview.
No, I hear you. And on the Army Corps, they have meetings, the contractor that's doing that work, they have public meetings that people can come to, and I get those emails all the time. If you want to email me at president@lakeviewcivic.org, I'll be glad to give you when those meetings are. And you could go and file a complaint, or I could give you their contact
Is
information.
there, do you think there's anything that can be done?
Well, I mean, you can't unless you ask, you don't know, so.
All right, I have just been informed by the guy who knows all this stuff. I was at I was not at the office yesterday when my notes were drawn up, and Rico tells me that the streets are still scheduled for December 14th. The streets are scheduled to start next month in Lakeview, which was delayed. Everything was delayed because of the doing the drainage mapping. But that is the delayed date, December 14th. So my apologies, and I'm glad to deliver the happy news.
And I talked to DPW yesterday, and I'm going to explain the quadrants and all, and how that's supposed to be going forward. But let's go ahead and finish with our elected officials. Sarah Houston, our school board representative, has some things to talk about.
While Councilmember Gendry's here, I'll start with the news that was announced at the picnic. The city has finally accepted from Orleans Parish School Board for free Fleur de Lis Park, and so the ownership of the park will transfer. You all have been working on that. I believe it started under Brett, and many of you all have worked tirelessly to see that come to fruition, so huge congratulations that will transfer. It's not, the ink's not dry in the documents, but they're all in agreement that we can give it to the city for free and that the city will actually accept it as a gift. So that's a great piece of news, and I want to thank everybody from several LCIA presidencies and city council people and school board members, et cetera, who worked to make that happen. So you all have your rightful park now zoned properly and maintained by the city. I also want to thank Anne for having been a great partner and including me in your all's meetings in this wonderful neighborhood and her service as president, and look forward to working with you as well, Brian. The largest issue I want to talk to you all about today is on the ballot, December 6th. There is a runoff election, and there will also be the opportunity for us to preserve our school buildings. There's a millage that will expire, and the millage is you all will be asked to consider extending that millage and repurposing it. It will not affect your tax bill. It will not change anything other than it will give Michelle and the principals, and I'll ask Michelle to speak to what it means for her building and for Hines and for your neighborhood in just a second. But it will allow us to create, for the first time ever, a pot of money that can be used to preserve our buildings. For those of you all who were in New Orleans and saw the condition of buildings 10, 15 years ago, before the $1.8 billion that FEMA gave us as one-time money to rebuild buildings. I'm looking at a couple of teachers who are nodding their heads and knew the condition of our buildings. We did not have the money to restore and maintain buildings. And with the repurposing of this millage, it will not affect your taxes whatsoever, but it will allow for the city of New Orleans to create a pool of money that can be used across all types of schools, charter, RSD, OPSB, to make sure that we maintain this phenomenal asset in the community. So I, as an elected official, can encourage you to vote yes. Michelle can answer your questions about the information about it, but it really is a phenomenal opportunity, and as your school board member, I really do encourage you to help us make sure that we maintain that asset and that that millage will pass for the extension and the repurposing of it. Again, it's not a new millage or any change of anything. So I guess, Michelle, actually, would you take a second to talk about what it means for your building?
Good morning. Based on the estimates right now, about $350 per student would be reallocated to stick with the Hines property. So regardless of whoever would operate any school in the city, it would stay with the property. It'd mean about $250,000 a year that would build up over time, and as things would need to be repaired, such as chillers or roofs and things that are beyond maintenance, we would be able to request to draw down from that fund. It's just the beginning. Experts say there's much more that's needed in facility maintenance and capital improvements, but it is at least the beginning, and it's something that wouldn't increase anyone's taxes. Thank you.
So this passed through the Louisiana legislature. The entire New Orleans delegation was in support of it. I want to thank Brett Bonin, my predecessor on the board. He secured the support of the Republican Party here. The majority of the city council people, your city council person is in support. And if you all have any questions whatsoever, myself and Caroline Romer Shirley, Caroline, raise your hand, who's with the Charter School Association, will stay, and we'll be delighted to answer them now or after the meeting. So I don't know if there are any questions about any of that. Really? I never give a presentation where I left something out. Or it's still cold. And then finally, as you all know, I like to host tours of schools, and the next school tour that I'm hosting this month is actually this coming week. It's to the Plessy School. We can thank, Michelle has been an instrumental supporter of that school and their resurgence, and the leadership from Hines has helped to launch this great new charter school. So if anyone wants to come with me on a school tour, my usual comrade, Rita, is not up for it right now, but if any of you all would like to see me after the meeting, and I'll let you know where and when we'll meet to go tour the Plessy School. So thank you.
Where is Plessy School?
The Plessy School's in the Bywater.
Oh, really?
So there was they had a change of leadership last year, and Joan, who was at Hines, who's a brilliant educator, went over to become the school leader at that school. So you all are spreading your goodness across the city.
What's the address of the school?
I'm not sure the exact address. I'll look it up for you, and I'll come give it to you.
It's in the old Coupon building. Is it Coupon?
Thank you, Sarah. And I'll tell you, my son went to Hines, and about 15 years ago, I recall the PTA bought paint to paint the classrooms. And I remember going, I never painted anything, you know, I always deferred to other people to paint. And it was oil-based paint, and I'm like, how do I get this off my hand? So, sounds like this proposition will prevent that from needing to be done in the future. So, all right, next up, we have Sergeant Renee Benjamin, and I want to thank Reed. Is Reed here? He left. Okay. I'm so happy. You should all be happy that the Lakeview Crime Prevention District was renewed, and we can actually have Sergeant Benjamin here to give us an update on their great work.
Morning, everyone. At this time, I'm pleased to announce that crime is down 18% in Lakeview. I'll take this opportunity to review the crime stats for October and November of this year. In October and November of this year, 2,442 uniform crimes were documented by the New Orleans Police Department. 293 of those crimes occurred in the 3rd District. 20 of those crimes occurred in Lakeview, which equates to 1% of the total crimes reported in the last 45 days, less than 1%. 18 crimes were documented in October, which consists of 16 property crimes, 3 burglaries, 1 residence burglary, which was cleared by an arrest, 2 shed burglaries, which were still under investigation. In each one of these cases, no forced entry was used. There were 3 auto burglaries, no forced entry was used in these either. Crimes were perpetrated between 4 and 5 a.m. by 4 black males walking about the neighborhood and serving salads, putting on car door handles. The 4th subject was driving a getaway car. We have not yet been able to identify these subjects. There were 10 thefts reported in October. 1 was cleared by an arrest. 2 persons crimes, 1 was an aggravated battery, which was cleared by an arrest. And I have it's unfortunate that we had to investigate a homicide which occurred in the 6300 block of Pontchartrain Boulevard on October 22nd. Officers responded to a wellness check and found the victim dead inside his residence. The investigation is ongoing, and there's not much I can reveal at this time. However, there was no forced entry used, and the homicide detectives believe that the victim and the perpetrator knew each other. Okay, so far this month, halfway through November, there's only 2 property crimes reported in Lakeview. 1 was the theft of an ATV vehicle, which has not been recovered, and the other is a theft from the Dollar Tree store, whereby 4 employees were terminated for theft, 2 were issued summonses, and the other 2 refused to cooperate, so therefore warrants have been issued for their arrest. Year to date, the LCB unit has handled 7,441 complaints, have written 113 police reports, have initiated 1,720 traffic stops, issued 606 traffic citations, issued 1,258 traffic warnings, conducted 901 field interviews, conducted 4,431 business checks, and 2,071 residence checks. These investigations have resulted in a total of 245 arrests by LCPD officers alone. Again, year to date, overall crime is down 18%. Hopefully that number will improve by the end of the year. Officers are working hard diligently around the clock to protect the Lakeview community. Remember, most crimes will not occur if the opportunity to commit these crimes did not exist. Always take a moment to observe your surroundings when traveling from one place to another. Protect your investment as well as your neighbors. Dial 911 immediately and report any and all suspicious activity, and LCPD will respond immediately to address the challenge, the problem. Criminals prefer to take the path of least resistance. Burglars and thieves are predators who prefer to operate under the cover of silence. If they have to make noise to access a target, then there's a strong possibility they won't take the risk of being detected. In our quest to eradicate crime in Lakeview, we need the assistance of the community. The way you can help us is to report what you see without putting yourself in harm's way, and to lock and secure your property and personal effects at all times. Thank you.
Thank you so much, President. All right, next up, we do have a runoff coming up December 6th, and we have two candidates that would like to speak. We're going to start with the statewide office, the Public Service Commission. Forrest Wright is here if you want to come up, and we're going to give you 2 minutes to address the group.
Good morning, everyone. With the reemergence of the jackets and sweaters, I think we know that higher energy bills are coming. And the Public Service Commission regulates our monopoly utility companies, the companies that provide our electric, water, and gas services. It's a very important position. I've heard it often described as the most important position that you've never heard about. But it is a very, very important and exciting runoff that we have. One of the key issues in this race has been integrity and independence from the utility companies. The job is to regulate these monopoly companies. We must have independence. The commissioner who's in there for the last 6 years has taken 80% of his campaign contributions. That's over $400,000 from the very companies that the commission regulates and those with direct financial business before the commission. An obvious conflict of interest that we pay the price. For the last 9 years, I've been working for you with the Alliance for Affordable Energy, working to keep bills low. I know how to stand up to utility companies and win, and more importantly, I know how to work towards solutions. But always those solutions are for the customer, and we're doing so in a way that you know that every single decision that I make is going to be the best decision that I can for us. We do have a lot of interest in this race right now. There are a lot of reasons. Some of them is just the election results on November 4th. I'm proud to say that our team came in first place over the incumbent. We had more than 4,000 votes ahead. I have the full endorsement of the third candidate, Al Leone, and we are working very, very hard. We know that it is going to be a push all the way through December 6th, but I really, really appreciate the chance to talk with you all. I hope that you do come back out on December 6th and remember the Public Service Commission. Again, my name is Forrest Wright, and of course my aim is to bring the right stuff to the job. Thank you so much.
Next up, we have Anna Ahern. She is running for a judge position in Civil District Court, Family Court Judge.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for your attention. I know that I have spoken with you all before. I'm thrilled to say that I am in a runoff. When I had my little party, I said, you know, the good news is we have 30 days. The bad news is we have 30 days. So we're now down to 3 weeks from today. It's been a real quick cycle. I am running for domestic section 2, my number 65 on the ballot. And the few things that I want to tell you about myself are that I've been practicing law here in New Orleans for over 27 years, 21 years in the family law arena, and represented over 700 families. I have some very specific ideas of changes that I want to make, and as I travel through the community, it's interesting because one of our judges said to me, you know, when our families fail, our community fails. And I think it's very important for us to realize how important this judgeship is. The bad news is so few people really know what it means and what it stands for. It's a newly created seat. It was created for someone who wants to stay in a family court arena, as someone who wants to do this work, and as crazy as it sounds, yes, that's my desire to do so. I would love your support. It is very important that we have folks show up on December the 6th. We do anticipate that there will be a nice turnout because we have some issues on the ballot that are very important to us. I've tried to give everyone here one of my push cards. If you didn't get one and would like one, I'll be happy to give that to you. I have some very specific platform ideas, my experiences on my website, which is janetahern.com. And as I said, I'd love your support. Janet Ahern, number 65. Thank you.
Next up is a brief recognition of businesses. Rory?
We don't actually have a business here today sponsoring the meeting, but what we do have is we have Skip Murray, Michael Patino, and Lori Bennett. They're the owners and proprietors of Dat Dog, which has a new per se, spinoff called This and That. It's located on 2540 Bank Street. The reason why they're here today is because they're looking to join our Lakeview family. They want to go into the old Lakeview Paint and Drywall location, which is on 241 West Harrison. Their new restaurant is called This and That, and it's mainly a hot dogs and hamburgers restaurant. And they came here today because they're in the early process of joining Lakeview community, and if you have any questions or concerns about their business, they're here to answer that. And they're sitting right over here if you want to know more about This and That. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Lori. Okay, now we're going to get into our committee reports. I want to talk about the street repairs. I spoke to Sharon Robles yesterday with DPW, and this is the information that we have. DPW has identified an apparent low bidder for the Recovery Roads program. That's the FEMA repairs, okay? And that's good. They haven't signed the contract yet, but they have identified the low bidder. So they're routing the contract. That's really good, because for years all we hear is, this is a date of design and all that. They've actually identified a low bidder. There's 4 quads, okay? And there's gonna be there's 2 quads. There's gonna be paving work done in quad 1, and that's the first thing that's gonna start. I'm gonna tell you what quad 1 is in just a minute. But there's paving work, paving only work, and then there's work for paving and the sewer and drainage lines. So certain streets, I think because the city council and the mayor's office went back to FEMA, are getting more extensive work than just paving. So you have 2 types of work that are going to be contracted out. What's being contracted out now is just paving only streets. So that's quad 1. And quad 1 is Harrison Avenue to Kenilworth, Orleans to Pontchartrain. And that is going to be the first work that's going to be started. And that's going to be soon. And they're going to have a public meeting, DPW is going to have a public meeting, and they're going to ask us to get the word out. They're going to shoot for having this meeting in December, which is going to be kind of difficult with the holidays. But they want to do it in December because they can't get the work done until there is a public meeting. So I think that's good news, okay? Now, quad 2, paving only, is scheduled to go to bid in December, with work beginning in late spring of 2015. So for the first time since I've been president, we actually have this FEMA work started, which is good news. So that's the update on the FEMA repairs. Do you have any questions? I know you had questions earlier. Does that answer your question?
What's quad 2?
She didn't give me the boundaries for quad 2, but I'll look into, I'll email you. And we tried to get a map today, but they didn't have it ready to give to us. But they'll have all of that at the public meeting. And like I said, she wants to have it in December, and we will be sending out e-blasts for that public meeting, so you can come and ask any of those questions. Okay, now let's go to Fix My Streets. Fix My Streets is more for the long-term repair of streets that are not covered by any of this FEMA money. This FEMA money is just going to be patchwork. It's not going to fix all our streets, and that's why we started Fix My Streets. And Fix My Streets is a marathon, not a sprint. We have met a number of times, the board, and we have identified an executive committee that are going to be made up of people like from GNO Inc., Bureau of Governmental Research, Young Leadership Council, leaders of construction associations that know what it means, to fix a street, how much does it really cost. And the aim is to look at what the city has provided in terms of information, which they've done, and we've been to all those meetings with them, and find out, is this information really accurate? Because we want to have transparency in this information. So we're working hard on that. We're doing a lot of it behind the scenes. We are going to be getting magnets ordered to put on your car because we want to keep the campaign up. I was at a meeting over the weekend. It was the mayor's office puts on the summit. And I was very impressed with the fact that people were using examples of campaigns and momentums and how to get government engaged, and they kept using Fix My Streets. So at least they're aware we're here, we're not going away. And I personally talked to the mayor, and I said we had some issues. We wanted them to be on our advisory board. And technically they can't wear a hat with a private campaign. But I asked them, I said, we have to have you at the table, because if we don't have this exchange of information and we don't get to this transparency that we're all going to want and need, because you asked a valid question, why do these dates move? I mean, we need to have some trust. So I talked to him, he guarantees that they're going to be at the table. So Brian is on that the board of Fix My Streets, Glenn is on the board, Ralph is on the board, of course Robert Lupo's on the board, Freddie Yoder, of course, is on the board, and Jeff Janusik, who I believe you all have met, is on the board. So I don't want you to think we're going away because we haven't had a town hall meeting of 600 people. We are here for the long haul, so trust in that. Okay, next up, I just want to give you a brief update on Middle Harrison. In case you hear, El Gato Negro is seeking a conditional use for a parking lot. They leased the lot across the street. I think the hope is to ease some of the parking issues on Middle Harrison. So they had a neighborhood participation meeting this past week. And the report is that it was a pretty positive meeting. There were some neighbors with some concerns, but there was some good exchange of information. That's just part of the process. They have to go to the City Planning Commission. So if you need more information on that, you can either ask me or Ray Bergeron. Okay, next up, I think that's it. We've got Todd Wallace here to talk about this great event I told you about earlier, our Friends of Lakeview Gale.
Thank you, Ann. Real briefly, the Friends of Lakeview Gala, this will be the third time we posted it. Just as a brief refresher, the new Basin Canal Park, West End and Pontchartrain, that whole corridor, when it goes 5 o'clock, it goes pitch dark nowadays. There's no funding for lighting that project. Very typical channels, so the Friends of Lakeview is taking that on as their initial project to better the neighborhood. So we have raised over $150,000 for that project. We have now just come out of a little logjam on a grant process, and we believe that in early 2015 we're going to get some very good news about an 80% matching grant from federal funds. That then Friends of Lakeview will be required to come up with the 20%, which is roughly between $200,000 and $250,000. We've already raised over $150,000. We are very, very close. So the gala next Saturday night will go a long ways toward that amount. There's about 125 of the wrought iron lamps that will go out there that will complement what's on Harrison. We're also selling those to, you can adopt a lamp post for your family or memorialize a family member who's passed away, etc. So that's now picking up momentum. But anyway, www.friendsoflakeviewnola.org is where you can buy your tickets, or you can send a check in to the LCIA PO Box, and we'll have your name in the guest list. 7 o'clock is the patron party, 8 o'clock is the gala. The gala tickets are $75, or if you want to come early to the patron party, it's $125. It's a fantastic event. We're right now looking at over 300 people. We'd like to get that number to 400 to meet our financial goals for this particular gala, so please join us. I will also want to quickly say, a lot of times this time of year, the politicians are asking us for campaign contributions. And a lot of the politicians you heard from today have already stepped up in their individual capacity to buy tickets to support the event. So those who are still here, I want to thank everybody for doing that. We even have some of the candidates who are running for office who've already supported the event. So that dog, we'd love to have you come out and introduce yourself to the community. There'll be about 350 new customers over there waiting to talk to you. So come on out and join us, and thank you all very much.
Thank you, Todd. Next up, we have Todd to talk about holidays on Harrison. And I will tell you, you're going to see some new lights on the neutral ground. They just arrived this week. It was a donation from Robert Lupo. It'll be net lights. There's going to be garland on the post. Connie Udo's group painted the post and the trash can. It's going to really look awesome this year.
Thank you. So we have 3 upcoming events that I want to share with you. So tonight, we have our family movie night at Lakeview Presbyterian. It starts at 5:45, where we come out, we eat, and then show a movie. The movie's indoors. And we're showing Brave tonight. Next Saturday, we have our Children's Business Fair. It's the 2nd annual Children's Business Fair, held at St. Paul's from 10 to noon. It's not too late to register, so if you have a child between the ages of 5 and 18 who's interested, please go to the website and sign up today. And last but not least is Holidays on Harrison. So that is Thursday, December 4th from 5 to 8 in the parking lot at Lakeview Grocery again, who so graciously hosts us. It will start off with some choirs. We'll have pictures of Santa, and then some caroling up and down Harrison. If you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with me. All that information is in the newsletter and on our Facebook page and the website. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Next up, Tom Schnatz. Give us a brief report. He does zoning compliance and blight.
Unfortunately, 9 years after Katrina, we're still working on blight. We thought that would be done a long time ago, but it's not. But the story is still pretty optimistic because as time goes by, more and more of these unrepaired properties are being repaired and renovated for use. In our last survey, we found there were still like 132 unrepaired properties in Lakeview. And that sounds like a lot, but compared to 7,000, which is where we started, and 215, which came out of the survey of 2012, you can see that the picture continues to get better over time. Of the 132, there's about 52 of them which we would consider blighted, and we report routinely to the city those kinds of properties and look for inspections and hearings and that sort of thing. If there's any properties that you are particularly concerned about or they are particularly annoying to you, you can send me an email at blightcommittee.org, and we'll see if we can do something to get the city moving on compliance. We also have 25 properties with slabs that have been left over from the FEMA demolitions of the properties, and we've been working to try to get those demolished also. Not as successful as we'd like, but we understand now that the city is considering slabs a public nuisance, and if you have a property with a slab on it, please call 311 and report it. Maybe the city will come out and inspect that and get it into the pipeline for compliance. We have already sent that list to the city. However, I haven't seen any of those properties come up for a public blight hearing as yet. So we're making progress. We continue to make progress. If you have any particular issues, don't hesitate to email us at the blightcommittee.org. And we also work on zoning compliance issues, and we have 2 or 3 or 4 of those always in the works. And we try to work with the city to encourage owners of properties that are in violation of the zoning code to bring those properties into compliance. If you have any issues like that, send us an email at zoningcompliance.org. And that's it. If you have any questions or you want to talk about anything else, stay after the meeting. We can do that. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. And just to be clear, zoning compliance at lakeviewcivic.org and blight committee at lakeviewcivic.org. Lori, help me with that. Okay, I think we're going to beat the 59 minutes unless somebody wants to report on something that I've missed. Reed? Yeah, come on up. And I did mention you when you were out of the room, so thank you for all your hard work with LCPD. It was awesome, and we appreciate it. You and Val and everyone that worked so hard on it.
I had to run out and get a freight pack that was overdue.
Okay. You want to speak? Or?
I figured out a way to recycle an election sign.
Okay.
If you notice, I've got 2 decals, from front and back. If you have your LCPD review signs, you can reuse them. Just come see me. And you can post it in your front yard, and
great idea.
The bad guys will see it.
Good. Thank you, Reed. The last thing I want to report on is the free tree giveaway that you may have missed for this time, because it's going on right now, and I didn't want to announce it at the beginning because I didn't want to lose the few people that we have here today. But anyway, it's going on at St. Paul's right now. If you don't see any trees left, there's another one December 6th, and they're going to give away 1,000 trees. And that's going to be at the Department of Parks and Parkways just behind Dillard University in Gentilly from 9 to 12. And that's Hype for Katrina, which you guys are all familiar with. Okay, anyone want to move to adjourn? Oh, do you want to speak? Sure.
Laura looked up your quadrant for this views, and that's just going to be comparison after each quadrant. Did everyone hear that? The quadrant 2 for the FEMA recovery roads is it's still Orleans to Pontchartrain, and then it's Harrison up to Robert E. Lee. And then we also have DPW and Sewage and Water Board is coordinating an online map that should be up within a couple of weeks. So you'll actually be able to see all of this information interactively on a web application. I'll send that out when it's ready.
Thanks for that, I appreciate it. Okay, motion to adjourn. Laura, seconded by Tom, all in favor? Okay.
Great job, Ann.
Yay.